Hey everyone, this is Giacomo Vaccari coming back at you with a little tutorial that I've been thinking about because I had to do this recently, not at my job, but I did it for fun. And it made me think that a lot of people out there are probably wondering, how do I make a hitbox system where I can do a headshot or a critical shot depending on where I hit an enemy, right? So I'm gonna take you step by step into that system. It's very, very simple. We're gonna use a tag system. So we're gonna iterate over several hitboxes that we're gonna hit with our gun. And yeah, let me take you step by step. There's gonna be a little bit of vector math in this. I know that you guys have liked that in the past. I know it's a little bit of a dark magic. So I'll try my best to explain it a little bit. It's not easy, but if without math, but I'll try to do my best. And yeah, I just opened a first-person template, nothing special. The only thing that I did is I opened my first-person character, so just here, and I deleted most of the code that we don't use. We're just gonna need the mouse input and the movement input right now. We could actually not even use movement input. We don't really need it. I don't have jumps, I don't have shooting, I don't have anything, right? I also deleted a few of the things that weren't needed here, so like the VR camera and all that stuff, we don't need it. We just need the gun. We don't even need the sphere, but we're gonna use it in a second. So we just have a character with a capsule component, of course, so we can walk around and all that stuff, like character movement. Not really a mesh, but then we have the camera, and we have the hands, the gun, which is attached apparently. So I'm trying to move it for no reason, and the sphere, right? So we're gonna use this sphere in a second. It's kind of relatively important. You could do it without it, but it helps. So let me show you what we actually have here. So basically, you're gonna open your project and delete those things that are needed. And oops, sorry. And if we eject, we just see what we have here. Right? Actually, allow me to show these things because we're gonna need them later. So I want to see the capsules, just what I'm coding. It's useful. Let me check that the sound is working. Test, yeah, okay. So we have the little sphere there to know where the point, the muzzle of our gun is. And yeah, so now we can start. Now, so again, we don't need anything in this character except movement. You could even try without movement. So what is the difficulty on creating a priority system for hitboxes? Well, it's not obvious at first glance, maybe, but you will see that it's pretty simple after you get the idea. Oh, okay. I'm definitely a great artist. Now, so as you create a character, you can see here that there's a capsule component, right? Let's create a character right now. Character, enemy. Let's be nice and say BP enemy. So I don't think I actually have a mesh in this project. I doubt it very much. I mean, we have arms and we do have a character. Awesome. So let's rotate him so he's looking forward, the whole thing. Now let's put him here. All right. So we have this very, very bad looking little model. So you see that there's, and let's make the model a little bit smaller. It actually fits inside the capsule a little bit better. We're not making Deus Ex in Unreal Engine anymore. Those of you who get that reference, kudos. You know more about games than me, probably. So anyway, as you can see, there's a whole capsule around this character, and if it didn't have it, it would fall through the floor, it wouldn't be able to move, it would not collide against things and all of that, right? So great. We have, and let's go back to my freehand amazing art. We have this capsule around it, right? And we're gonna shoot at it. And let's say we also have a hitbox in the body and a hitbox in the head, so we can detect different things. Now, we're gonna shoot at it and we're gonna detect several things because the trace is gonna go through. So we're gonna detect this, we're gonna detect this, right? Now, this is an example. You could do it at the head, and it will detect here and here, right? Now, what is the problem? The way that usually we measure hitboxes or whatever, like that we do hitbox detection, that we're going to detect the first one. We're going to detect the outside one, but we're not going to detect this one. Now, if you are a little bit more advanced, you know about multi-traces, and you can detect those. You can detect both, and you're going to get an array with a list of these hitboxes. And what I'm going to show you is a little trick that is like you don't actually have to process those hitboxes in any special way. You can use either a tag system for priorities or a name system, right? Let's use the tag one for now, or I don't know, I'll make it a little bit as we go. But you will get the idea of both of them anyway. They're very similar. I might make both, we'll see. Anyway, I'm sure you can now understand the concept that we're not just going to hit the head, we're going to hit more things. Imagine if you shot from here, you would hit at least 3 different hitboxes, and we need to know what we're hitting and what our priorities are. So is the head more important? Is the body more important? Do we actually hit all of them and damage all of those spots? What are we doing with our game? So let's think about the design. I'm going to make it right now so that we can only hit one hitbox. And the way it's going to go is head, then torso. Oh wow, this is amazing. And then elsewhere. Wow, I really need to take a course on art. Anyway, right, so, well, not just yet. The first thing we need to do, traces, right? And I'm going to show you a little bit, for those of you who are not into traces, I'm going to show you a little bit how they work. It's very simple, but the vector math gets a little bit tricky. So if you're an expert on line traces and stuff, I would say skip about 10 minutes. This is going to take about 10 minutes because I'm going to go over a few details. Anyway, right now, we fire, nothing happens. Okay? Let's make a line trace. This is like probably the most typical line trace. Like the most typical trace is a line for guns and whatever. So where we start our line trace is actually pretty obvious, right? We have our gun. So it's going to come from our gun. Let's say it's from this sphere, so we can actually control it very easily where it's coming from. So let's say right there. Right? So we're going to get a sphere. Where does our trace start? Wherever our sphere is, right? So vault location. Oops. Get world location. Perfect. Okay, this is where it's going to start. Wonderful. Before I hit compile, I need to tell it object types, otherwise it's going to throw an error. It needs to know what it's going to collide against. So let's say wall static, wall dynamic, and pawn. Right? The reason why you do that is, and not just pawn, for example, is because wall dynamic, wall static, let's say you hit those and you you spawn sparks. So people know that they failed, right? As opposed to like when you hit a pawn and it has an animation that it reacts, or blood, or whatever it might be. Let's debug this so we can actually see it. Let's say like a pretty long time, 10 seconds. Okay, it compiles. Boom, I shoot. Oh, that's weird. Okay, what's happening? I'm showing my trace, but it's going somewhere weird. We didn't set the end of the place, so it's going to the center of the, let's say, Unreal Universe or something like that, right? Of this level. So like the enemies in this location, 69 minus 30, I cannot see, 258. So our world 0 point is around there or something like that, right? So let's shoot and eject. Shoot. Let's shoot and eject and look where the trace. Oh, so that's 0. See? Alright, so it's going from wherever the gun is to 0, but that's not what we want, obviously. We want our gun, and we want this, right? So we have our source point and our target point. Now, this is a vector, so it has a direction and a length, right? So let's give it our direction. Now, You would think, and this is a very common mistake that I've made a million times, and that's why I don't make it anymore, that you could say, well, the gun is pointing that way, the forward vector of the gun will give us the direction to the target, right? Well, let's see if that's true. The sphere, we get the forward vector, and we say end. It's still going towards 0. Interesting. This is a very typical vector math mistake. If a forward vector is a unit vector, right? So it's like, let's say, like 0, 0, 1, or like 0.3, 0.2, 0.5. It always equals 1, right? So think about it. We're doing kind of the same thing that we were doing again before. We're telling, hey, the end place is 0, 0, 1, for example. But we're at like 269, whatever, right? So it's like, oh, okay, that's my direction, which is wrong. What we want to do is where we are plus that direction is going to be the direction to the target. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I know it's a little bit difficult to understand. It took me a while. So if we are here and we tell it go to 0.5 or whatever, it does that, right? But what we're going to have to do is, like, let's say we're 269.70, right? I don't know, just an example. We're going to tell it, hey, it's forward, let's say on the x-axis. So it's like 201.69.70, right? So see, the direction is relative to where we are. It's not an absolute value. How do we do that? Oh, come on. Very simple. We sum up the origin vector, the start vector, to the to the direction to the original vector, and that is our end. So this is not going to work just yet. In fact, it's not even drawing, which is interesting. Okay. Let's see why. Oh, do you see there? It is there. See? That's our line trace. Hilariously. Because it's a unit vector, right? We have the direction, but we don't have the length yet. So let's give it our length. Now, so the way that you do the length is you get the direction and you multiply it by the length. So let's say in this case 15 meters, right? Now we can sum it up. Be careful not to multiply the world location. That will give you really weird results. Okay? Cool. So this kind of works, right? Not really. Not really, I'm afraid. That's not the case. See how it's not in the center of the screen? And if I move, it doesn't really like move exactly to where I'm looking. That's because there's certain rotations and animations and stuff, and we're taking those into account. So we don't want to actually take into account let's say the forward vector of this sphere. It's hard to describe right now, but the angle is not going to be the same as the camera angle, the way that you are looking. Okay, so what can we do? We can do several things right now. You could say, oh, well, instead of getting the forward vector of this, let's get the forward vector of the character. No, because when you look up and down, the character doesn't rotate with that. So that's not going to work. You could say we can get the control rotation, so where the mouse is moving. That could work. In fact, I've done that many times. Another possible way is doing the camera. What about the forward vector of the camera? Would that work? Simply that, right? Aha, pretty close, pretty close. Close enough, really. And you're gonna hit there. And let me tell you right now that this hat that the first person template brings on the in Unreal is not actually in the center of the screen. I don't know why they did that, but it's the case. Anyway, it's pretty close. Let's say I hit the hand. Well, obviously the hand doesn't have collision, so I'm not hitting it. But let's say the head. Boom. Okay, kind of. There's more complicated ways to solve this. Actually, well, there's several ways of doing this, but the real one that I like is separating the trace, like, how to express it, the effect of the trace from the actual where are we looking at trace. So we're gonna change this. Instead of coming from, hey, we're gonna shoot from here to where the camera is looking, which you could say it's more like the muffle effect, like the muzzle effect than anything else, we're actually gonna shoot straight from the camera. So the camera world location plus its forward vector times 15,000, so 15 meters, that will actually give us in the center of the screen. I want to show you, in case that you don't believe me, that the center of the hat, I believe, is not really in the center. Let's say 5, let's say 2. So I'm just making a center point on the screen, just so you can see it. Okay, cool. Okay, that's the actual center of the screen. Because I don't believe this hat that they brought with Unreal. I don't know, I could be wrong. Let's check it out. But I don't trust it very much. So we're gonna create this widget, and we're gonna add it and see if that is not in the same place. It's not in the same place, I told you so. I don't know why they did that. Anyway, I believe that I can take out the hat and it will still work. And now we're in the center of the screen. See, so actually now my traces actually hit the center of the screen, which is what I want. You could change it, of course, to do something else, right? Now, wonderful. We're actually hitting the center of the screen. I don't want to get too complicated, but the relationship between, so you're looking at this character, right? Let me start. You're looking at this character and you're seeing the weapon here, and your camera, this screen is the camera, right? So the center of the camera is here, but you don't see that trace because it's coming from the camera, so it's like exactly in front of you, so you don't really see it. But once you want to make effects, you actually have to start it from here to here, and what you would actually do is make two trace systems. One that gets what you are actually hitting in the center of the screen, and one that tells, oh, from the start of the weapon to the center of the screen where what we actually hit, we're gonna draw a trace line that will pretend like that's actually what's hitting. So let me do that very, very fast. And we're gonna make it okay, so the start of that effect sphere, the effect line, will actually be that. So it will actually be at the location where the weapon is, the muzzle of the weapon. If there is a hit, we're gonna draw a fake effect. Actually, you don't need to do this. You can just make a debug line if you prefer. Yeah, for this is easier. So we're gonna get this. The start is gonna be the muzzle of the weapon, and the end is gonna be the place that we hit right in front of the camera. Okay? Now let's make it red. And let's see, 0.1 and like 2, something like that. We don't need to spend processing power. Okay, cool. So now we have kind of a laser, but it hits right in the center where we need it to be. Wonderful. We don't need this now. And let's just say VFX. My VFX friends, please forgive me for calling this a VFX. Anyway, now you say, okay, we can actually get serious now about hitting things. Well, actually, let's keep the frame because I want to see when I hit it. Like, I want to see the red point. Oh my god. Yep, sure. Okay, perfect. So we are actually hitting something. In that case, the back of that. Here we're actually hitting the character, not the character anymore. Okay, great. Now we can actually get to the point of the tutorial. This guy has a collision, obviously. Now, let's start by debugging when I'm actually hitting this guy, right? And allow me to do this very quickly. Okay, so I have a blocking hit and I have a impact point. I'm gonna turn this into a function so it doesn't bother me right now. VFX. Right. Okay, cool. I don't actually need this right now. We're gonna have to change that in a second, but for now it's fine. Okay, so I wanna know what I'm hitting right now. So first I need to think about this this collision. What is this? This is a pawn collision. Okay, cool, awesome. So if I were to say here, I'm only interested in pawns. I don't want any effects. I don't want to worry about anything. No hits, no hits, no hits. Oh, hits. Boom, boom, boom. I'm actually hitting a pawn. Awesome, cool. But if I shoot anywhere else, we see the camera trace, but we see that there's no actual hit result. So that would be like the little red square, right? Now, I have a feeling that this mesh has collision, and it does. But it is ignoring pawn. I don't actually want it to have any collision. I don't care about it. There we go. So now I hit the arm that has no collision capsule, and I actually don't hit it. That is correct. Now, great. Now I want to know, when I hit something, and we can actually put this there because it's not so important. So when I hit something, I want to know what I broke. I want to debug this, right? So let's check the hit actor. So we're going to print its name. This is how you start debugging these things, right? Boom, BP enemy. Awesome. Let's say we have two enemies. It's going to be BP enemy and BP enemy 2, right? BP enemy 2. Perfect. It works beautifully. So now, what am I hitting when I'm hitting this guy? We know that the mesh has no collision. So we're hitting this capsule component, right? So let's make sure that's the case. Hit component, printed. What are we hitting? Collision cylinder, wonderful, great. So we're almost ready to detect different hitboxes. Almost ready. So let's add a sphere collision on the head. All right. Let's make it a bit smaller. That's clearly bigger than the head. You still want to give a little bit of lenience, you know, like not too much that the player is like, hey, I didn't really hit it, but enough that it's, you know, it's a video game, they're moving and stuff like that. Okay. So we have the collision in the head, and we need to make it a pawn type of collision, because we're only detecting pawns right now. Okay, then later we can add the other stuff. But first let's figure this out. So here's a wall dynamic. No, I don't want to be a wall dynamic. That's not what you are. Okay, so you're a pawn. Block that. And actually, you know what? Because it's a head collision, I don't really want it to be that much, like collide with anything. Really, that's what this one is for, to control the character. This one, I only want it to be hit by this shooting that I'm doing. Okay? So, I hit it on the head, I hit it on the body, hit all the text. But hey, look at something. What do you mean you're hitting the collision cylinder? The head collision is called head collision. And here is where the tutorial actually starts. So this is what I was talking about before, that you have this collision, and you're hitting this one, right? If you are a little bit more advanced, you already know about multi-traces, so I'm gonna get into that in a second. And then we're gonna get an array, a list of collisions that we have. So let's do that right now. So a multi-line collision or a line collision is basically the same thing. Basically. And by the way, you could, instead of a line collision, if you want to help the player a little bit, you could do a capsule collision, which is a little bit bigger, right? So a multiple capsule trace for, in this case, let's do objects. You could do it by channel and whatever it's visible, and then kind of like figure out what you hit. There are many different ways, and like either spawn like an effect or hit the enemy or whatever. Right now we're gonna do it for objects, and as you can see, it's basically the same, a little bit different because it's a capsule. Let's say it's 20, the size, and the array is the same kind of thing. And we also want to debug by duration for, like, let's say 2 seconds. I'm curious about what we're gonna see there. Same start, same ending, and that's it, right? We run it, but we're gonna have a problem. Okay, and you see the capsule. So how a capsule line works is very simple. There's a capsule that moves across space, and when it hits something, it shows you that capsule. Okay, so you're gonna see two capsules. One, the one that hit us, that one, and that one. But we have ignore self here by default. If you wanted to not hit yourself, that would be very easy. Probably this should be enough, not in this case because the capsule is very big, but you know, you could do like this. Maybe that's enough. Says like it's not. Oh, sorry, it's not actually hitting ourselves anyway. It's just showing us where we start. See, those squares means that it actually hit us, right? So anyway, just ignore self. It works fine. Let's turn this back to where it was. Now, here's the thing. I told you that we're gonna make a list of things that we hit, and it's gonna be more than one, right? So we cannot use this code anymore because this code is only made for one hit, right? So we're gonna hit several things, and for each one of those things we're gonna process something, right? But the first thing we wanna do really is make sure that we hit something. Okay, let's say print. We hit something. Wow, butterfingers today. We didn't hit something. We didn't hit. There's a good reason for this. We set a distance to how far away we hit, and we cannot just like set it to infinity. So if you fire at the sky or something that isn't a pawn or whatever, we say, hey, we didn't actually hit anything. But if we hit a pawn, okay, now we can process whatever we need to process. So let's say you fire the sky, or you fire something that doesn't actually do anything with our shot. Ignore it or spawn up a spark if it's in like an enclosed space or whatever. You can do many things. That's a little bit beyond the point of this tutorial, but if you want that tutorial, I can do it as well. But let's say, okay, we did hit something. We have an array of things, and if you don't know what an array is, it's literally a list of everything that we hit with all its properties. So it's like a lot of stuff in there. So you want to be a little bit careful with them. Now, we did hit something, right? Let's keep this here. Actually, let's save it. If we did hit something, I want to save those results to be able to do something with them later. And I say, hey, we hit something. We have saved the information. Let's process it. So, the whole point of doing a multi-line trace or a capsule trace is that we're going to hit this first. We're going to continue and we're going to hit here, right? So, let's see if that's actually the case. Hit results. We're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to get the name, the display name of the component, so we know what we hit. But the difference is that now we have many components, right? So we're going to do for each loop. Let's say that in here, in this hit results array, there's like 2 results. For each loop, we'll go through each result and run this code until it's finished with everything, and then it will say, hey, I'm completed. I go out of this loop, right? If you don't know what a for each loop is, you really need to learn this, which is not the purpose of this tutorial, but you will kind of get it now. Anyway, so array element hit component. We're gonna see. Okay, so boom, we don't hit anything, so there's no code running. You can actually see on the background there, branch not running. I'm gonna hit the bottom of this guy. We hit something, collision cylinder. So this. That is correct. There's nothing there. What if I shoot at the head? We hit something, collision cylinder and head collision. That is what we want. So now we have both. We know that we hit both things, right? And you can see several results, but actually it's only counting one for each cylinder, right? Which is fine. Which is actually what we want. Right. So now the interesting part starts. Let's say that if I hit the component collision cylinder, which is the body, I'm gonna just print a result, which is like hit body, right? And if I hit the head, I want to say I hit the head. But you cannot hit the head without hitting the body. That's impossible, right? Because the body is bigger. So I want to prioritize the head. I'm going to use the name system first, but we can also do the tag, because this is going faster than I thought. So what we're going to do is, there's many ways of doing this, but there's many ways of doing this, some more efficient than others. But how I'm gonna do it this time is I'm gonna loop here we go. Okay, for each loop with break. Actually, you know what? Let's be very conservative with our processing power. We can think about it this way. If we only hit the body, wow, it can get tricky because you can hit more than one character at the same time, right? You could do this, boom. And you definitely hit more than one characters. So this can get very, very tricky, but I'm gonna keep it on what I said I was gonna do, which is the hitbox priority, and not the character hitbox within character priority. Only one character I'm gonna do right now. So you guys don't go crazy, like maybe you're beginners and you're like, oh my god, what is this guy talking about? He's crazy. So I'm gonna keep it easy. Let's say we only can hit only one character at the same time. Okay. So now you would think about it this way. If I only hit the body, I only have one result from hitting, right? Because there's nothing else to hit. If I hit the body and the head, I have two results. So I can look at how many things I've hit and decide, oh, I clearly hit something more than the body. Is it the head? So let's try this. Let's see if my theory is correct. If I only hit the body, it will be one hit. And if I hit the head, we hit two. And is this always the case? Seems to be. It's clearly going to break when I have two characters. Yep. But that's for another day. I could do it. It's just I don't want to drive you guys crazy. So if the length is greater than 1, so if the array contains more than one thing inside it, I want to check if I hit the head, right? So if it's more than one things, and yeah, you could do this in 20 different ways. So, you know, those of you guys who are really good programmers, you know, you're gonna tell me, oh, you shouldn't do it this way because, you know, this or that. I'm just trying to keep it simple for beginners. So, the results are more than one. I want to check if any of them equal head collision. Oh, I cannot do it like that, sorry. So I can get the display name, and if the name equals head collision, then I hit the head. Oh, let's make it a little bit more obvious. Boom, I hit the head. Okay. If that's not the case, under this supposition that I made that you would hit only one if it's the collision, the body and stuff like that, you wouldn't really need to do anything. But let's be conservative. Let's make sure that we actually hit the body. And in this case, you don't need the break, but it doesn't matter. Same thing. Let's say that capsule component. No, but the name was different, wasn't it? Collision cylinder, was it? I believe that was it. Let's check. I hit the body. Let's see if this works. We hit something, but I probably wrote the name incorrectly. So let's check first what we actually hit. Let's print everything that we hit, just for fun. Collision cylinder. Collision cylinder. Huh, did I not write it correctly? I think I did. Okay, let me check. Head collision cylinder. Okay, it's because it's not equal. Okay. So the way it works is that you get the actor name and then the component, and so you will see that it's like enemy, true, head collision, whatever, right? So I shouldn't actually check if it's equal to that. I should check if it contains that string. So this is the complete string. This is the substring. I don't care about the A's, the K's, and I don't care about searching from the end. It's not a big deal for me. This is very, very quick to do. So, okay, I think now it should work. Oops. Ta-da! We hit the head. Now, let's do the same for the body. I hit the body, I hit the head. So you will see if I hit the body, actually let's get this back. I'm actually hitting, and you know what? I'm gonna make it simpler in a second, but if I hit the body, I only get the collision cylinder, boom, I hit the body. If I hit the head, I'm getting both the collision cylinder and the head collision. But I know, because I did this process, that I only care about the head collision, right? So what this is doing is I have a list here of things called collision cylinder and head collision. And this is going over both of them. Actually, the head collision is the last one, so that's why I'm not breaking. But we should break, actually. Boom. So what is this doing? And actually, you know what? Let's save ourselves this problem. Well, okay, for now let's leave it. I'm gonna get back to that in 1 second. So what's happening here is like, okay, I hit a lot of things. Like, hey, I hit something. I don't know what it is, but I hit something. Okay, did I hit more than one thing? No, I didn't hit more than one thing. I hit one. So there's only one possibility, which is that it's the collision cylinder. I'm checking. Yeah, because I'm paranoid. So, you know, because I know in coding everything and everything can go wrong, but I don't actually need to do this. I could very easily just do this. Like, hey, you know, I already take care of you. I know that there's only one possibility because I thought about my design before I wrote the code. So yeah, I hit the body, we didn't hit anything, boom, 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 I hit the body, cool. But now, if I hit more than one thing, what I'm gonna do is look at my list, and this is like the head, and this is the collision of the body, and this is the arm, and this is whatever many collisions we have. Let me see how long we're going. 42 minutes already, wow. And if any of them are called head collision, I'm like, boom, I hit the head. I break the loop because I don't need to know anything else. I already know that I hit something that is the head, right? And then I come out and do my code. But let's say I have my list of two things here. I go here and I'm like, hey, what is this component that I'm checking? Is it called head? No? Okay. I don't break the loop. I don't do anything. Next. What is the next one? Is it called head? No. I only have two in this case. So it's called false. So, you know, I clearly don't have any head in it. I only hit like bodies or whatever it is. So you could do this. You could very, very well do this and promote this to a variable called critical hit or like headshot. But let's make sure that before we start doing anything, we set it to null. So we shot a lot of things. We don't know if it's a headshot. So let's say it's not a headshot. I have no knowledge of this. And you should make this into a function with like private variables and stuff, but whatever. Okay. The thing I hit is a headshot? No. The next thing I hit, is it a headshot? No. Cool. So when I finish, I can change my code based on the fact that I hit a headshot or not. So I don't actually need this here. All I need to know is if I ever hit a headshot, and actually, sorry, there's a mistake here. I should set this up first. If I ever hit a headshot, I stop the loop, so I'm not gonna look any further, so nothing is gonna say I'm not a headshot anymore. I'm always a headshot now until I shoot again, right? Because I'm initializing it here. And it's like, okay, well, am I a headshot? Cool. Run my code for a headshot. Am I not a headshot? I hit the body, or in this case, I am not a headshot. I'll show you why I do that in a second. So, boom, we hit something. What's going on here? I made a mistake somewhere. Oh, yeah, of course. So now we're gonna get rid of this. by the way, because we've cleaned the code enough that we don't need it. We don't need to no longer know how many things we've hit. As long as we know we hit something, we're going to go over every possibility here, and we're going to get the result here, right? So we're going to come here, we hit something. Let's assume it's not a headshot. Let's check, is it a headshot? No, I don't do anything. Let's look at the next one. Oh, it is a headshot. Let me remember that and break and finish. I hit the head because it's a headshot. Let's say the second one was not a headshot. I don't do anything, but I run through every possibility, so I'm completed, and the headshot is no, it's not a headshot. I set it up here, so I'm not a headshot. Okay, so now this code is a lot simpler, and it will work. I'm not a headshot. Boom. Oh, wait, it's a mistake. Ha! I made a mistake somewhere. It's saying I'm not a headshot. Probably, let's say. If I'm a headshot, I'm supposed to break. Oh, simple mistake. It's not looking through the array. Okay, now it should work. I'm not a headshot. I hit the head. Beautiful, simple, very simple. But now, we are close to an hour, I believe, and I feel like I go very fast and I'm driving you guys crazy probably. But by the way, no, I don't need that. Okay, so the VFX, no matter where I hit, I can actually collate the VFX for the body. But I need to know which index I am when I broke. Okay, so I need shot index. So I'm gonna like, okay. Let me see if that works, and I'll explain it. Boom, boom, pa. Perfect. So for those of you guys who I'm going too fast, I'm sorry. What I did is like I want to do the VFXs, right, of the shot where I shot, but I have many results here, and the VFX is only for one result. I don't want to do it for both because I don't want to confuse the player. You know, when you go in here, there's only one hit result that does the drawing, right? What I want to know is which one was the last one that I checked, because if it's a head collision, I break, and that's the last one that I check. But if it's only one, it's not going to be a head collision. I'm not going to break. It's just going to complete. It's going to come out here, and it's going to do this, right? So I need to remember which is the last thing that I looked at before I broke or I finished. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit complicated to explain with words like that. So let's say my shot, I hit two things, right? The collision cylinder and the head collision, two things. So I need to know, it's like, okay, I did this, boom, 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 boom. I have two things. Is it the first one? A headshot? No. But I only have one. So I come here, boom, and I get that one, that number 0, because it's an array, but the first one, and I do the VFX there. But I have two. So which one should I shoot at? Which one should I do the VFX at? The first one? No, because I'm not finished and I didn't break. So the second one, the head collision, I broke and I completed. So that one. That doesn't make a lot of sense, I know. After 1 hour talking, I'm a little bit tired, but just mess around a little bit with it and you'll figure it out. It's basic array stuff. So now that works. So now, I'm not going to code it because I feel like I'm going way too long. But I'll give you an interesting thought experiment. What? Okay, so let's add more collisions. And this is a sphere, isn't it? It should be a capsule, but whatever. Now, if you had many collisions like this, it would be very boring and expensive and lots of code to check for each name, wouldn't it? But what if you use this system? You have a tag system, right? So what if you gave priorities to the hitboxes? So let's say head collision is priority 1 and body collision is priority 2 and capsule component is priority 3, for example, right? Could you make a system like this that goes through every hit and decides which one is the biggest one, which one is the smallest number, so the highest priority, and choose that and run code based on that? The answer is yes. I don't know if I should try to do it very quickly. Let's try to do it very, very quickly. I'm not going to get too crazy with this, but we're going to get hit results. And to make it more fun, let's say that the collision and these 3 collisions are in the same place, kind of. Because otherwise there's no point in kind of like figuring out which one is more important, right? So actually let me delete this one, another capsule. I have the microphone in front of me, so it's a little bit difficult to write. So the capsule collides with the lower part of the face. And there's no special name, no nothing, so I'm not using that. So I'm keeping it honest. But let's say the priority is 2, tag 2. Now, I'm going to hit the 3 components at the same time. You'll see. Boom, collision cylinder, capsule, and head collision. Okay? Cool. I'm not going to run code based on what we hit. But let's Let's make a priority system. So I'm gonna make a variable and this is gonna be a component variable, actor component, an object reference, which is gonna have a string attached to it. Because I believe tags are strings or names, they're names. Okay, so they're gonna have a name attached to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit something. I'm gonna hit 3 things, 1, 2, and 3, and they're gonna have priorities. I wanna keep this list, and then within this list, because there's a chance that I only hit like this, or there's a chance that I only hit like this, or there's a chance like I hit like this, or whatever, you know, there's several combinations, 9 I guess. Whatever hits I get, I'm gonna find the smallest number. Can I do that easily? I wonder, let's see. So, and this is a map, yes, so we add to it. So we have a for each loop. For each component, I add 1, and its tags, I get the tag at 0, because we made sure that the tags are 0. The tag at 0, I'm gonna add it to this map. Cool. A map is the equivalent of a dictionary in other programming languages. So we have a key, which is the actor component, and a value that it holds, right? So in this case, it's going to be like capsule, true, head, 1. It's definitely always going to have collision cylinder at 3, right? So let's print every time we add one of these. Let's print hello. And can I get a length here? Yes, I can. Okay, and when we're finished, I want to know how long the component list is. So I'm going to hit the body, and that's going to give me 1. Excellent. I'm going to hit the middle, and that's going to give me 2, 3. Okay, I hit the head a little bit, I guess. Huh, interesting. Okay, it's giving me 3. Oh, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Okay, before we do it, we have to clear, of course, or we're going to keep getting old results. And actually, we don't need this anymore. Okay, so now we don't keep adding different ones. So 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Beautiful. Okay, cool. We don't need this anymore. So now we have 3 hits, let's say. Well, actually, let's keep the printout of the number of hits. And this is just like more advanced stuff. So you guys, if you figure out what you needed to know with the critical hit and stuff, feel free to like just stop watching now. And if you like it, awesome. If you comment, awesome. But I'm not a YouTuber. I don't care. I have a job. So, but this is more like a thought experiment that I think it's interesting, both for you guys and for myself as well. So, but it's gonna work. I already see that it's gonna work. So we're gonna get the keys and we're gonna get the values. Now, there's an array of values. Oh my god. Oh, but these are strings and I have to turn them into integers, don't I? Maybe I should have done this here. Int. I don't remember how to get a name. I think you can make a string, and from a string you can make an int. String to int. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna change this actually. This is gonna be an int. Yeah, I know. Whatever. Okay, so we're gonna add the component, and we're gonna get the tag that we have as a name, but we're gonna turn it into an integer because we're using numbers. So remember 1, 2, 3, and so on. This is gonna make our lives easier later. So yeah. Length, okay. Okay, cool. And now keys and values, I need both for later. Awesome. Okay, now I have an array. Yeah, of course. Clear. Okay, this is where we were. Awesome. Sorry about that. So now I have an array of integers, and I believe I can get a min. Ha! There we are. Excellent. Beautiful. Returns minimum and the index, which was fine. Awesome. So let's try this. We're gonna get the values, and let's print what our smaller integer, so basically our priority list, is gonna be. So if I hit the bottom, it's gonna be 3 because it's only 3 because we only have 3, right? Like we only hit the collision cylinder. Let's forget about this for a second. So it's gonna be 3. Oh, Jesus. If we hit the body, it's gonna be 2 because we hit both the collision cylinder and the body, but the body has priority 2. Let's hit the head, it's gonna give me 1 because we hit the collision cylinder with priority 3, the capsule with priority 2, and the head collision with priority 1. But the minimum is 1. Wonderful. It's working beautifully. So now, not only does min of int array find us the value, which actually I don't care about, it finds at the index, and that's going to be useful because now I want the keys. I want to find which component actually has that minimum value, right? So keys, and I'm gonna find an item. Sorry, let me check. Values, is it find here? Find item? No, sorry, get, of course. I'm a little bit rusty with arrays. So I have the index, so the position within the array at which the key that I want is. I know that. Boom, done. And it's gonna give me the component that I want. So this is gonna give me a collision cylinder. This is gonna give me a capsule, and this is gonna give me a head collision. Beautiful, it works. So as you can see, it's actually relatively simple to do this. It's a little bit more difficult with melee. What you would want to do with melee is like have likewise an array of all the hits, but to do that array, because it doesn't happen immediately within a trace in one frame, but it's going to happen within several frames of like a swing of a sword. This is going to take, it depends, about 8 to 12 frames probably, depends a little bit. You're going to have to save all that information, and at the end of the frame you're going to be like, okay, let's process the information and do all our stuff, right? And then fire the UI immediately, because otherwise people are going to notice the delay. So that's a little bit tricky. If you guys want to see that tutorial, I'm happy to do it for you. I mean, you guys know I'm not making any money of these, but you know, it's just fun for me. So now, let's say here you will basically say, based on this, you know, contains whatever. Sorry. What was it? Substring contains string, contains substring, blah blah blah. Oh my goodness. And here you could do like a switch, right? You could even do like a switch on a string, right? So you could say collision head, or head collision, and here you could say capsule. Oh, yes. And I don't want anything here, because the collision cylinder would actually be the would be the default result. This is not going to work, by the way. I just realized that I need to do something before, which is I would need to get the actor, the precise actor, but that's going to make things a little bit more complicated now. Let me see how I would get this. Let me print. There must be a pattern to like, okay, so there's a point in between the actor and the component. I've never done this, so give me a second. But separate substring, get substring starting index. That's not it. Left chop would be 1, left path, checkered count, left chop, left. How to separate string split? Okay, awesome. Okay, source string, in string, the string to search and split that. Beautiful. This is exactly what we need. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so if I've never used this function, so we'll see. But the idea is that I get the display name, so like enemy, BP enemy 2 dot head collision capsule, or otherwise, right? So hit the head. Hit the body, and by default default hit. Alright, let's see if this works, because I've never used it, so. Okay. Default hit. Hit the body and hit the head. Beautiful. So now you could actually switch your code and have different code for the head, different code for the body, different whatever, or set up a variable, anything you would need. But the point being that we have set up successfully a priority system where we have 3 hitboxes that are touching, and we choose between them. So let's say you have a weapon that ignores hit collision. You know, that's fine, because you could actually be able to implement that code somewhere. Let's say here, or if you are encapsulating the code within the weapon, you would actually change this, or straight up ignore any type of hit collision based on their tags. For example, say, hey, if it's a tag 0 or a tag 1, I don't care about it, don't even put it in the array. I'm gonna process everything else to save memory and save computing power and stuff. That could be an option. Or you could just save it and have all that code done in one way for all the weapons in the game, but here say, oh, okay, if this is the right weapon, instead of doing the code that is going that way, break that and actually ignore that and go to the default result. You could do anything you want here, but with this basic system of figuring out like the priorities and what you are hitting and which one is more important and all of that, you have a lot of flexibility and you can do a lot of things. And this is how the professionals do it. I mean, I'm a professional, and we use this kind of thing all the time, because you don't know what the player is gonna do. You cannot control if they're gonna hit here to hit there. So you have to kind of have backups of everything. So they thought they hit the head, but they actually hit the default or whatever. So that's why you have a default. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. That was a little bit longer than I thought it was gonna be, but not too much. And I hope the sound is better this time. I'm processing it. I'm post-processing it after I record it now. So hopefully it will be much better, at least less noisy. And I hope that was interesting. It was really interesting for me, actually. This critical part at the end, I haven't done it before this way. I knew it was doable. But I'm pretty happy with the result. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you liked it, hit the like button. It kind of helps me. It's rewarding, to spend a few hours of my life thinking about this, and then a few of you guys are like, oh, expressing how much you like it and how much you learned and all of that. And that's why I do it. I don't make money with this. I don't, I don't get anything from this. So that would be very appreciated. Okay, thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed.